Mr. Ravichandran, President, Kerala Engineers Association, other members of the committee, members of the association, family members, guests, good afternoon to you all. I'm happy to be with you all on this annual day function. And frankly, I rarely go to functions of this nature because the talk that I normally address is something which makes a person a little more sad than happy, and this is a happy occasion. But then I'm not used to talking anything other than what's happening in the country today, what's happening in the state today. Therefore, you'll permit me to speak that, because beyond that, I don't know much about. In the last few years that I worked as Lokayukta, and thereafter, I only talk about what's happening in the society and country today. Let me take back the memory of some of the elders who are sitting here, who were born before 1946. In 1946, in anticipation of getting independence to this country, an assembly was constituted called the Constituent Assembly. That assembly consisted of people who fought for the freedom of this country and who were very much concerned about the future of this country. One of the first issues that came up for consideration before the assembly was what type of a political system that we should adopt. There were many systems prevailing internationally. There was monarchy, there was dictatorship, there was ism-based democracies, and simple democracy was one of them also. Many elders who spoke of the emotions, and they said, we Indians were never ever personally independent. We were ruled by Rajas, Maharajas, Zamindars, foreigners, who never gave us any opportunity to participate in the administration of the country. Laws were made without consulting us, and we were asked to follow those laws. If we failed to do so, we were punished. Therefore, these elders pleaded that let us adopt a system of governance wherein every Indian feels that he is independent. He must feel that this country is mine. And there was a system which was available called the Democratic Republic. The definition of the word Democratic Republic at that point of time was government of the people, by the people, for the people. This really attracted the members of the Constituent Assembly. And they said, we'll adopt that system, and it was adopted unanimously. The Constituent Assembly's function was so disciplined that not a day a member walked out of the Constituent Assembly. There were differences of opinion. For example, an issue came up for consideration whether a person contesting the election to be the representative of the people should have an educational qualification. Many elders pleaded, right to vote is different from right to contest or represent a constituency. The person who wants to represent the constituency must have the capacity to understand the problems of the constituents, take it to the assembly, discuss it there, and then get the problems solved. So they said there is a need for some educational qualification to be fixed. Practically every member of the assembly was of the same opinion, that there should be an educational qualification fixed for a person to represent the constituency. But one member stood up and he addressed the House by saying, President Sir, recently we adopted a resolution to accept democracy as the political system in this country. Then you told us the meaning of the word democracy was government of the people, by the people, for the people. It was people-centric. Today, sir, that is in 1946, The population of this country is 40 crores. And out of the 40 crores, 80% of the people are total illiterates. Do you want a 20% democracy in this country, he asked. The Constituent Assembly Debates editor writes at the bottom of the page, the entire house was stunned. There was absolute silence. After some time, one of the elders who suggested the qualification to be fixed said, I'm sorry. I did not look at it from the point of view which the honorable member is seeing. He is right. We cannot deprive, in a democracy, a citizen of his right to contest. I withdraw my suggestion. I am pointing out this episode for you to recapitulate and compare it with what's happening in the elected bodies today. The bodies whom we claim are democratic setups. We recently had the parliamentary session, Lok Sabha, for 10 or 12 days. One of the opposition parties never allowed the House to function. Maybe they had their own good reasons, but preventing an elected body to function is not one of the democratic methods which I feel. I'm not supporting the ruling party. I don't belong to any political parties. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, outside the House, outside the political arena, they are the same. There's no difference between them. But I'm trying to point out the fact that the people who claim to represent the country in a democratic setup, these are the undemocratic methods that is being followed. We have 546 plus Lok Sabha members. There's an organization called the Election Watch, which made a performance audit of the members of the last Lok Sabha, 2004 to 2009, and gave a report in which they said, out of the 546 plus members of the Lok Sabha, only 174 even once spoke in 5 years. Who are they representing? If in the entire country 174 are the only ones who contribute to the proceedings of the House, why do we require 546 members? Each member costs more than 1,50,000 rupees a month. What is the contribution they make? I'm not concerned with the influence they use for transfers, appointments, and other things, for getting contracts or whatever it is. Is a democracy functioning in the way our forefathers expected it to function? Ladies and gentlemen, I think we all have to think over it. We all have to mull over this problem. We cannot in a democracy say, I'm not concerned. There is no better political system in the world than democracy. But the method in which the democracy is being operated is entirely unknown to democracy. Therefore, we've got to think in terms of bringing about a change. A change which is primarily responsible because of the attitude of the society. Society today has forgotten to differentiate between what is right, what is wrong. If a person becomes rich, society looks at him as a great achiever, great successful person. It doesn't bother to find out how he acquired his wealth. I think we got to get back that habit of trying to assess whether the right is being done or a wrong is being appreciated. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, at my age, I'm 72 plus, having retired from the Supreme Court, I have come to the streets and Maidans to fight. Not for myself, I have nothing to look forward to. I don't intend getting into politics or any other post. But I'm concerned about the youth and the future of this country. We cannot go on like this. We got to put an end somewhere or other. Try to make the people who represent us understand they have a responsibility to fulfill. Not merely going to the assemblies and parliaments, not participating in the proceedings, but using the perks of office for themselves. I worked as Lokayukta for 5 years. Those 5 years made me understand what's happening in this state, in this country. I never seen so much of injustice, so much of sufferings of the people, even when I was practicing law or as a judge of the Supreme Court. I've seen how humans get dehumanized, how they lose their humanism in them on the way. Therefore, I thought, let me give back to the society at least a little bit of what I got from the society. That's why I'm in it in this today. I have been to more than 507 educational institutions, speaking to the students, interacting with them, trying to tell them what I feel and trying to understand what they feel. I'm not counting the functions I went to the educational institution for annual days or prize distribution, but only those visits where I had interaction with the students. I have a message to the students. Try and understand the true meaning of the word contentment, satisfaction, or tripti, what we call. It's not that feeling which you get when you acquire something illegitimately, because that feeling is only temporary. That feeling arises because of a disease that has inflicted you, a disease which I call a greed over need disease, which has no cure. It's highly infectious. I plead with the students, be careful. Don't fall a prey to this disease. Because that feeling which you get when you acquire something illegitimately will make you again do the same act the next day, the third day, the fourth day, because greed has no limitations. The true meaning of the word contentment, satisfaction, is that feeling which you get when you acquire something legitimately. That feeling is permanent. You are content and satisfied with that. But in that process, if you keep acquiring wealth legitimately, there's no limit also. That doesn't matter. That doesn't hurt anybody else. Legitimately earned wealth is no product of sin. Acquire money. Go to higher places. Enjoy your wealth. But do it in a legitimate manner. Unfortunately, the number of such people today has decreased very, very much. We claim a culture of over 5,000 years. But you see and the things that is going on, very often I wonder, where has this culture gone? Why can't we be happy with what we legitimately earn?